age we live in provides the most opportunities to connect in human history. We have people from all over the world who have come together to have this discussion. Yet, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you feel disconnected and you've heard in the news about mental health issues and disconnection. In fact, it was labeled an epidemic by the US Surgeon General in 2023. They came out with a report that measured how much time people are spending with other people and their mental health. And as you can see here, it's not good. People are spending more time on their own and less time with friends and family. In fact, this is takes such a toll on our mental and physical health that they also said that this is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And if you're all like starting to text people to make plans for this weekend, I don't blame you. This was a pretty surprising stat for me to learn. People are also spending less time in the traditional places where they meet, like churches or the traditional clubs like Elks Club, Boy Scouts, Rotary, and all of that. So as I was going through all of this data, I realized that arts organizations can help solve this problem by building communities on and offline. Because we already have the two main ingredients for community building, and it's a space where people can gather and shared experiences to bond over. So before we get into, I have some quick tips on how to build a community, and then I'll turn it over to Sophie. But I also wanted to show you like behavior on like what takes your organization from having what I call a traditional passive audience to a community. And if you take a look at this chart, you'll start to see that people are interacting with one another. So a community is not only people who are contributing to their success, but their motivation might not be the arts. So they've made friends with each other. They've made friends. They potentially even made friends with your staff. So in other words, they may be coming for the art and staying for their friends. So just there's many different strategies where you can intentionally build a community. I'm going to give away three that I think are important. So the first is the IKEA effect. And I've been very interested in this all year. And it's the idea that we overvalue things that we've created ourselves. That's why the furniture store is so popular. And a Harvard study found that people actually value the things they make themselves 63% more. Some inspiration from the arts world. Broad Stage in Los Angeles did a painting class on their plaza with a small dance performance. And if you have a volunteer choir or a community choir, that is definitely a place to build community and talk to them, because choirs are the quickest way to build community. There's nothing like people coming together and making music. So that segues into consistency. So community isn't built in one night. There needs to be consistency in what you're doing. I like to borrow things from the other industries. So Weight Watchers, which is a popular weight loss program in the US, where there's a point system and people meet once a week. The founder started Weight Watchers in her living room. She was struggling with losing weight, and she finally said, I'm going to get my friends together and we're going to meet once a week and talk about our struggles. So it wasn't a fancy, glamorous start. People started to see results and the movement built from there. And then the last one is generosity. So I think there's a few different ways to think about generosity. One, arts organizations are offering hospitality and generosity because you have a space and these shared experiences that people can bond over already. There are other things you can do to also show generosity, so you're not creating a transactional environment. But there's ways to ask for help that's not necessarily in the form of money. You can ask for advice. You can ask people to give a Google review or share something on social media or participate in a video testimonial. And that way people are feeling more connected, and it only takes them 5 minutes to do so. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Sophie.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I brought an example today from, as I said, the Classic Card app in Berlin. And I will show you how it looks like, but I want to give you some background information up front. So the Classic Card is a membership card for everyone under 30 years from the leading cultural organizations in Berlin. And this membership exists since over 25 years, and the organizations back then said, well, we need a younger and a more diverse audience, and why don't we join forces and also put our marketing activities, kind of put them together and attracting new audiences, because we are not competing with each other. So the ballet is not a competitor of the opera or the concert. We are competing with all the other leisure time activities people can spend their time. So let's join forces and yeah, strengthen our reach in attracting young people. And yeah, as I said, the membership exists since over 25 years, but during the past years, the members decreased. And then the Stiftung Oper in Berlin, where Valentin is from, made a survey among young people in Berlin and asked them, what would it take that you come more often to our shows again and to our events? And the majority said, well, it's not so much about the price. There are three other issues. One is that the tickets were only available last minute at the box office. And then people said, well, you know, this is so short term for us because Berlin is a big city and we need to travel through the whole city to get to the box office. And then it's not sure that we get tickets and that there are still tickets available. And on the other hand, we haven't been that often to an opera or to a concert, and we really don't know what to expect. We're not quite sure. And the third topic was that they said, well, I have a lot of friends, but not all of them are interested, and I basically don't know with whom to go. And these were all the things we tried to implement when we decided, or when also the Stiftung Oper in Berlin decided to take a digital approach, and we developed a classic card. And now I'm going to show you how it looks like. Nicole, if you could click on the next page and start the video. Thank you. And as you can see, we really try to address those issues and topics. And first, we implemented a kind of automated ID and age verification where people can scan their passport, ID, driver's license, student ID, and then there's a background fraud check. And if everything's valid, you're set and good to go. And this enabled the organizations to open up their discounted tickets for on sales or pre-sales. And of course, we really wanted, and this is why I'm speaking here today, have a huge focus on creating communities and bringing in all this social aspect, because going to a cultural event is a social thing. So we wanted to make it as easy as your friends. You can invite them to the app. We have referral programs in place. And of course, that you can also share the event within social features or within your community. And what's also very important is that you can give ratings and comments. And what we've seen is that the community really exchanges on the event. So they are telling their impressions and if they like it or not. And we also had some we were approached and asked if they could download their reviews, because they want to keep track of what they have seen and yeah, use it like kind of a cultural diary. So yeah, we see that this is really driving, and also then driving the conversion rate, because people feel really engaged. And yeah, as you can see here, also some technical background. It's all automated, integrated. There are live interfaces to the different ticketing systems, so we can combine different ticketing systems in one middleware. And what's super important and helpful for the venues is that all the customer and transaction data is stored in their ticketing, CRM, and CMS systems, so that they can then do a proper audience development. And also that of course the age of the people is stored so that they know how old the people are, and then can address them accordingly via push notifications, via in-app messages, and really have a tool to communicate on a very personalized and direct way. Yes, now we can click to the next slide, please. I think you need to double click. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And the next one, yeah. And what also is so important in what has been important in the development process and with all the social and community features is that people and consumers and we all trust people more than brands, because if someone says, well, this is a great concert, you want to join, or this is a great play, let's get tickets, you're most likely to say, sure, yes, of course, other than you just read it somewhere on social media or in the newspaper. And this is also, if we click to the next slide, aligns with a study of Wolf Brown. I think you know this is research consulting company in the performing arts market. And Wolf Brown has the concept of initiators and responders, which says if you have a community or an audience, there are initiators who describe themselves as kind of people in person who like to organize outings to cultural events for their friends. So they book the tickets and decide when to go and where to go and so on. Whereas responders describe themselves as persons who are much more likely to attend cultural outings if someone else invites them. So in principle, they are interested in going to a cultural event, but they're not that motivated to purchase tickets for themselves. So what we also tried in the Classic Card is to make it as easy as possible to invite friends and bring friends along and kind of have a digital word of mouth strategy, like to motivate initiators. And what I'm going to show you now is if you the results, because I think this is always the most important question. So we launched the app in 2022, so almost 3 years ago. And within 9 months, the members increased from 2,000 to 15,000 in the first 9 months. 65% of downloads converted to registered users, with 76% monthly active users, which is a very, very important number for us, because this means that the app is really used and it's not just, a dead app on the phone, but people are really using the app, and the community is using it, with an average ticket purchase of 5.3 tickets per customer within 1 season. So the retention is super high, and about 37% within 6 months. Regarding the community features and the community building, 40% of users use the wish list, where they can highlight events they are interested in total with nearly 150,000 wish list entries. And per user, there are 8.92 events highlighted. And 20% of the users use the referral and the share event option. And with the referral program, it's like there are individual settings, but everyone who shares and sends an invite to the app gets a voucher, like kind of a welcome voucher, I guess Uber and Dropbox had this in place in former times, with on average 3.36 events shared per user. So these are also very important numbers, because it shows that all these features and twists and things are used. And then we're coming already to the last slide. 40% of registered users have friends, which means that they added friends to the app and increased the Classic Card community. And on average, every visitor brings 1.5 new people to the venue, which means these people had no record in the ticketing system before. So we match this based on email addresses. If a new user registers, we look into the ticketing system. Is this email address already existing, or is it a new one? And if it's a new one, there's a new file created. And outliers have motivated up to 50 new people, which shows that the app is really a tool to acquire new audiences. And in total, 76% of Classic Card app users have been new to file for the venues. So yeah, what I wanted to show you is how like this community building can work